Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Shefail Desai Kalyani, the president of We Care Charity.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'd like to talk about my very first interaction with Kim, who was in a group home. Of course, she's not here today. Her name also has been changed for privacy reasons. I have known Kim for past 5 years, since my first visit to Portsmouth Children's Home. She was only 12 when her mother dragged her onto the steps of the home and pushed her into the office and said, "Keep her, I don't want her." She was quiet. I was in the kitchen next door and I could hear her loud and clear. This is Kim's story in her own words. My mom and dad did drugs and fought all the time. I took care of my 2 little sisters. The police came over so often to our house that I wasn't even scared anymore. I tried to run away with my sisters, but they were too little, and we couldn't go far, as I was too young to carry them both. Later, my dad died in a bad drug deal, and my mom went to jail. We had no one. Even my grandma didn't want us. We were all fostered by one family who never wanted us to talk about our parents. I used to remind my sisters of the fun times we had as a family. This was not acceptable by my foster parents, and they basically said I was a bad influence, and they dragged me out of their home and brought me to this children's home. This is the first time I met you, Shefail, at that place. And I also felt very separated from everybody. With dad passed away, mom in jail and sister separated, I was depressed, anxious, and always upset. They put me on medications, which made me very sleepy. I was sleeping all the time. I started to sleep in school as well. And I got complaints from the school to my children's home saying I'm not a good student. A few kids found out that I live in a group home, and they started to make fun of me. This made me angry. And I punched one girl until she bled, and I hit the guy in the place where it hurts the most. So I was grounded from children's home. Couldn't go to school. I had to sit in my room all day, which means no TV, no other recreation. This gave me a chance to think, and think negative. So I ran away. I ran away from home, and everyone got really upset at me. I tried to run, but I got caught. They put me in a kid jail. This is called the juvenile delinquency chair. They put me there with orange clothes and chains around my ankles. I was treated like a criminal and released after 2 days, back to children's home. Even then, the only person I kept in touch was with you, Shefail. As I grew older, I met a boy whom I fell in love with. He promised me many things. I even ran away again with him, thinking I'll have a better future with him. The only person I was in touch again was only with you, Shefail. You advised me to surrender, as I had a warrant against my arrest because I ran away. My parole officer was very angry, and now my boyfriend and I were having issues as he was being very abusive. I couldn't take this anymore. I'm tired. I'm tired of running. Shefail, why can't you just adopt me? Why can't you just take me in? Don't you love me? I thought about this for a long time and finally decided that I'm ready to take this responsibility. I told her I will be your foster mom and take care of you. This is the story of one kid. There are hundreds of Kim out there, not just in Children's Home, in Nashua, Portsmouth, Dover, but lots of other places as well. And all their stories are just as sad and just as heartbreaking. If I could, I would take them all in. Now, you ask me what this was about. This isn't a story about a Kim. This wasn't a really story about us, of what I do. This is about you, the audience, and also those who couldn't make it today. You are the ones who bring smiles to sad faces of my kids. You are their Santa in Christmas. Your hand feeds 100, so homeless and dozens of soup kitchens, so they don't go hungry. These homeless folks are in New Hampshire and Massachusetts is what we serve. Every Sunday, you feed our elderly in Salem, New Hampshire. You provide the Thanksgiving meals to the dozens of veterans who fought so we can be free. You feed and educate 400 slum kids in Pune and Ahmedabad. You are the reason why they will have a bright future. What is this worth? That's my question tonight. What is this worth? Is this worth more than $50? If so, there are envelopes of donations on each table. If you do have cash, checks, and we also accept credit cards now, we'd love to come by and get your donation. Our volunteers will stop by your desks, your tables, I mean. Please be generous. Thank you, and God bless us all. I'd like to thank all the sponsors, the singers, volunteers for their untiring work. I'd like to thank particularly 3 people, without whom this show wasn't possible. Thank you to our production managers, Mr. Yogin Pathak and Mr. Valentino Almeida. Last, but certainly not the least, I'd like to thank Mr. Jay Srinivasan, without whom this production was not possible. Now I'd like to introduce you to my son, Devin, from the group home, and he has few words to say. You ready?
Thank you, guys. So I've known Shefail for about 2.5 years, and she is honestly the mom I never had. Thank you, Shefail. Now, before I say this could bring tears to many of you, as it will have for me. It all started when I was 5. That's when my life changed. So since I was 5, from 3 to 5, my biological mom didn't know how to parent, and on top of that, she had mental illnesses that kind of prevented her to make good choices. So finally, the cried enough and took me, my sister Lena, and my brother Tyrese away for good. But when we all got taken away, my brother's dad took him with him back to Africa. See, we all had different dads, so that's how it went. So my sister and I were put in foster care together for 3 years until we were separated. I was in a total of 12 different foster homes, from New Hampshire to Michigan to Delaware, and my sister was in a total of 16 foster homes. My sister Lena never got adopted, as she was not the lucky one, but I had got adopted, and I felt bad because I wanted my sister to get adopted more than me. I was adopted by a family called the Henrys. I was 9 when they adopted me, and from 9 to 12 was amazing. I had so much fun. Then came 13. Once I hit 13, everything went wrong. Instead of being spanked, I was beat by my adopted dad and neglected by my adopted mom. Every time I lied, I was sick, or got in trouble, I was severely beat. So I had to get help, and to do that, I had to take the worst means possible. I had cut myself to get attention and also get help for mental help and out of the home. That happened 3 times, February, March, April of 2015. I was at the New Hampshire hospital in Concord 3 times in a row, and then I thought, this is going to be the end. Then after that was done, I came home in April, and I was being assaulted by my adopted dad, and then I flipped. I was done with it. After 4 years, I left. Then I came back, he tried to put me in a bear hug, and I lost all control, and I got arrested for assault. That night, I was in YDC, the corrections place, for 8 hours, and then placed at the NFI North Midway Shelter, which is in Bradford, for 2 months. Then I went to the Orion House in Newport, New Hampshire, and when I was there, my adopted parents told staff to keep me very, very locked down. But staff didn't listen and let me do what I pleased under the rules, and then I had to go to court because they weren't listening to what the staff had told them to do. So then I went back to Midway, and then I came to NCH in November 2015. I've been here since then, and I have to say it's amazing. NCH is my second home, and since turning 18, I've reconnected with my bar family and have regular home visits with them. I used to work at Sub-Zero Ice Cream and Yogurt in Nashua, then I put my 2 weeks notice in because I needed something that was more fun and had stuff for me to do. So now I currently work at Texas Roadhouse as a service/assistant and busser. I currently go to high school at Clearway High School and is a senior and graduate in 2018 and will move to the TLP, which are the Transitional Living Program, which is the apartments on the NCH property. While I was at the Henrys, I had to take the beating so my little brother Jaden, who had asthma, wouldn't get hit, neither would my sister. After 5 months of trauma therapy with my therapist and myself, I can say that it made me the man I am today. I see this world as my mother Shefail and her husband see it as a way to help those who can get help. So I ask to thank Shefail and her husband for giving me hope and a bright future. When I graduate high school, every school year I will donate $200 to $300 for the We Care charity and be a guest speaker at every event we have. And to Shefail and her husband, thank you for bringing light and hope to my life and being there for me when I had no hope. I love you and thank you.
At this point, I'd like to put a video on for Mr. Sushil Tuli, who couldn't be with us today, but he has few words to say about We Care charity.
I am Shefail Tuli. Welcome to We Care Charity's annual event. Often, we see a homeless person or a mother with kids who don't have enough money to buy food to feed themselves. We feel bad about it, but we pull ourselves and move on. But now Shefail Kalyani and her husband, who started We Care charity, to feed the hungry and homeless. We know today's youth have several challenges, but hunger should not be one of those. At Leader Bank, we are very proud to partner with We Care charity. Please give generously. Tonight, we will match up to $10,000 if you write matching funds on your check. I want to thank J. Srinivasan, Shefail Kalyani and their team for organizing tonight's event. Thank you so much for attending. Please enjoy the show. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your attention, ladies and gentlemen. Please enjoy the rest of the...
Nope, I have one more important person I'd like to be on stage for him to say a few words. Ladies and gentlemen, give a big hand to Mr. Subukota. I'd never forget about you.
Hi Shefail, what a moving speech you have. What a great story you've given. I got involved in the We Care charity about 2.5 years or 3 years, I don't remember. There was one letter Shefail wrote about a veteran. She fed and how he thanked her touched me. Then I come to know who is this woman who does all these things without expecting anything back. So I think I don't know how I got connected, but I did go and learn cooking one afternoon and fed the children. That was the very touching moment. I didn't know I could cook, but I did. But I didn't get the feedback from the children anyway. But this is a great charity. I see so many weekend charities we do for several causes which are needed for India. But nobody does anything else where we live. I felt this is something different which we which we do care, we live here, but we don't think about it, we think about India. So I felt this is one other charity besides our own blind and disabled charity Samarthanam. This is something which I proudly support. Thank you for all of your support. I don't want to stand in between you and the great music coming along. Thank you, Shefail. I appreciate it.
All right, now I can say what I wanted to say. Thank you so much for your attention, ladies and gentlemen. Please help yourself to the bar. The bar is open at the rear of the room, and enjoy the rest of the show.